Extreme volatility within the crypto markets. We are seeing the whipsaw effect in real time with the trap having been set within this crypto cycle. So make sure you stay tuned till the very end of the show. We have a lot to discuss today. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification, subscribe to the channel. A massive turn of events. Obviously, prices up massively on both the daily, weekly starting to recover. Their monthly still very, very strong. And there's your hourly with small short-term pullbacks following a very early morning pump for the crypto market, depending on where you are in the world. If you're in the US, maybe a late evening pump. So you're getting a little bit of a pullback on the low time frame. So we have a lot to look at in today's show. We're actually running a poll right now as well. Make sure you go and vote on that poll. I put on my Twitter as well. 6-month hold, which ones you picking? Of course, you can let me know in the comments how you would change this up. But with a focus on layer ones, AI, and a meme coin sector, which ones are you picking over here? And I put one with gaming over there. You got ETH with Render, Sol, Pepe, Fet, Sui, Brett, Tau, Phantom, Fog, or Prime. Of course, you're not limited to only pick 3 in your actual portfolio, but nevertheless, for the fun of the exercise, I'd love to see where people's mindsets are, because we're seeing big moves, specifically in the layer 1 sector, with both Sui and Phantom doing very, very well right now. And we've had some big gains also in the meme coin sector. And I do think there will be eventually a rotation into the gaming sector. Our current exposure has only been to Prime and a little bit of Vulcan Forge. At least that goes out to the Whale members, which are in the private Discord. Those are the ones that we've allocated into. And I'm looking to make some changes sometime soon, possibly shaving off a little bit of the Solana position, which is my biggest position, and reallocating into some of the other sectors, right? Because we're seeing that whipsaw effect with prices coming back. And the question is, are we going to be going lower, right? Is there another trap that could be set before us, or is it all over? We'll go through all of that in today's show. Again, guys, smash the like button. It truly helps to get our show content out there. And if you're not subscribed, why not subscribe? We have about over 1 million subscribers already on this channel, and we are fast growing, right? So looking at the fear and greed index very, very quickly, you can see spiking back to 83. We had that temporary dip over there to 74. And this is that whipsaw effect, right? Where the market becomes more and more emotional. You're gonna get these wild swings where, you know, one day the bears are celebrating because prices are down slightly, and the next day the bulls are celebrating because prices are up, for only both of them to get egg on their face throughout that whipsaw effect. So continue to stick with the trend. That's the most important thing. As long as it's uptrending in terms of price, well, then you are in the trend, and the trend in motion tends to continue, right? So continue to hold those positions. Now, I want to show why I think it's very, very unlikely that we're actually going to see Bitcoin come down into that CME gap. The CME gap is, remember, situated between about $77,000, I believe $80,000. That's when you look at the CME futures chart. This is now the normal spot price action chart on Coinbase. I think that unless you drop to the 80K level and filled it very, very quickly, that's okay. But I think it's very unlikely that you're going to drop anywhere under $77,000. And we can see why, right? First and foremost, we have the 21 exponential moving average, which is rising. And every week, this is going higher and higher and higher. Obviously, that's the trajectory of it. So as it currently stands, 77,475 on a weekly scale is going to be major support. Now, you have a trifecta of confluence coming into that area over there, which adds additional strength, right? First, 21 EMA. Secondly, we have the 50% level, which, of course, if we measure from the low to the high over there, that is where your 50% level comes into play. And then third, we have the SARs. These are stop and reversal indicators, the little asterisk dots over here, which are constantly rising. Next week, one's going to print exactly into that zone over there. And that means $77,000 is rock solid support. And that can basically be your invalidation if you start to break back into the trading range. Losing $77,000, this was the massive trading range that we spent 8 months within. Once we confirm that top over there, you technically don't want to break back into that trading range. Otherwise, this would be concerning and be considered a deviation back into the trading range. Remember, the way that traders trade these deviations is like this. Essentially, if you have your trading range over there, that looks like that, and you have price chopping about and oscillating within that trading range. Once you leave a long-term trading range, you technically want to accelerate out of there very, very quickly, which tends to create those strong trading moves, oftentimes even parabolic advancements. So what you don't want to see is leaving a trading range only to fail and come back inside. If you do that, once you get those deviations off of the top side of the trading range and you come back into the trading range, that will elicit a massive amount of panic that could lead you to break through the bottom of that trading range, which on a weekly scale, you would see would be quite catastrophic and could potentially end the entire bull run, right? So that would mean breaking back down below $54,000. And I think that's incredibly unlikely. Remember, as traders and investors, your job is to weigh up the probabilities of what is the most likely outcome. And the most likely outcome right here is at $77,000 is major, major support. And I don't even think that you come back down to test that level. But if you do, that's going to be an incredibly powerful zone that should lead to a massive bounce, right? Now, I think that there's a lot of people that have stacked their orders in that CME gap around $77,000 to $80,000, and they're probably going to get left behind, right? We'll have a look at the liquidation levels just now. We'll focus on, where the deltas are set. We'll open up the Whale Room Discord just now, and then we'll have a look at those levels to see where some of those orders are stacked. But keep that level in mind, right? The other thing to look at over here is the daily time frame, reclaiming, of course, those key levels, pretty much trading all the way back to where the highs were on Bitcoin, where that breakdown level occurred, right around that $100,000 mark. So yet again, Bitcoin is trading above $100,000. And if it can continue to sustain within this region, it's inevitably going to build up enough momentum to start to accelerate through this. And very quickly, you should see Bitcoin testing that $110,000, possibly even $120,000 level. So all eyes on Bitcoin and what Bitcoin does. And we also have a look at the Bitcoin dominance, which is currently breaking down. That's vitally important as well. The RSI will start to turn back up over here if Bitcoin can get above that $101,600 mark, which is your yellow line over there. But at the moment, trend in motion, and bulls just need to hold on for a couple more days before they get the bear moon, which should help prices accelerate towards the upside over the next 2-week period. So looking at the low time frame range on the 4-hour time frame, you can see your upsloping trend line over here, which has, of course, been holding. You also have your previous month's high. We've now broken above that. Now, any back tests that come into the previous month's high, watch for acceptance to be gained above that level. So what is acceptance? For anyone that's new over here, acceptance refers to price's ability to hold a certain level, right? It means that price continues to test that zone, hold that $99,000 to $100,000 region as support. That's where your previous month's high is coming in, 99,860. If you do something like that, that's called gaining acceptance. Gaining acceptance means that you can trade it up to the next level, because in trading, we work with level to level, right? So level 1, level 2 would be the next level to target, which would be about that 104,000 where your previous top was. If you can get and hold above that, that's where your acceleration phase begins to take place, right? So do keep an eye out on that. Again, also, if you fail that level, of course, then we need to look lower down, and you may actually come and fill this region over here. So the question is this trap over, right? Was the bear trap set? Well, when there is this high volatility, you need to be careful of both scenarios. And I think that a lot of the information will be revealed in the USDT dominance and the Bitcoin dominance, which we're going to get to that chart in just a moment. So what would a bear trap scenario have looked like? Well, this would be the bear trap scenario, at which point you test this region and then you continue to accelerate, leaving the $100,000 range, basically having shaken out a lot of the market participants right at these lows over here when they started to get fearful that we were going to drop down lower, and instead we don't. The alternative is you could get a double trap scenario, at which point you shook out the longs that basically got underwater, late longs that were drawn down when prices came here. Prices then start to move up. They FOMO back into the market over there. And then ultimately, if you fail this level and come back down one more time, and you sweep these lows, of course, that's where we have to reevaluate. So be prepared for both scenarios. That's ultimately what I'm suggesting. I think that the most likely outcome is that this was a bear trap, shaking players out of their positions. And you're going to see something like this, right? You're going to see them reclaim the top side of the trading range over there. Next thing to look at, this was a key level that we had focused on. It's the top side of the trading range. We said that's the level to reclaim, this is ultimately where you'd expect a little bit of resistance to be found, which is why on the last couple of 4-hour candles, you are seeing those wicks that are forming over there. But always remember, the trend is the most important thing in a bull market. It's trend in motion, high highs, high lows. You have price above both the 50 and the 200 EMA over there, which means there's more in favor of the bulls right now than there is in favor of the bears. And you can see that massive funding reset, right? Huge leverage flush going from the oranges over there now into full green, and the leverage has officially been reset. Looking at the leverage on a high time frame, this is specifically focusing on, of course, the aggregate funding rates. What you can see over here is we're still very, very low in comparison to what we saw near the tops of the previous cycle. So that's always an important thing to focus on. You can see in this entire bull run, we haven't even once come close to what we saw during this period, right? When these tops were printed over there, the closest that we got was when Bitcoin put in the 74K top, as you can see over there. Right now, the funding relative to that and the aggregate funding rate across the board is very, very, very low, right? Which suggests that there still could be a lot more leverage that could build up over here and things could get really, really heated. And we're not yet at that point, right? So keep watching that over there. I think, as mentioned, a lot of the secret sauce is over here in the Bitcoin dominance, which you can see on a low time frame. This is what we're watching, the 200 MA on the 4-hour time frame, rolling over, testing its resistance over there. We didn't even quite get to that point of there, and you are rejecting. So this is a downtrend in motion. What's going to be interesting is, as we observe in the coming hours, at how it's going to react with this order block. This is the order block that led to the big move up over here. So keep an eye out on that. If you do start to break that down, you'll increase the possibility of breaking the all-important 54.75% level, which is where your previous bottom was found, right? So if you start to break and hold below that, watch for acceleration further down on Bitcoin dominance. And that's why you're seeing the altcoin sector bounce so hard right now. Beyond that, referring to liquidity coming in for the overall sector, you have the same thing taking place over here on the USDT dominance on the 4-hour time frame. So ultimately, our real warning sign was if the USDT dominance started to break back above the yellow box over here, which was our major resistance, that would create a lot of trouble for the crypto sector, and you would start to see a major, major drop. So we'll continue to observe this it's playing out very similar, at least to the Bitcoin dominance, in that now we need to watch these lows. If you can start to break below this and accelerate below the 3.63 level, this is going to bring a massive amount of money back into the crypto market. Remember, this refers to the dominance of the stablecoin market. So if the dominance of the stablecoin market is dropping, that money is flowing into the alternative cryptos, right? Like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the other altcoins. And this combined with a drop in the Bitcoin dominance creates, a massive, massive opportunity for the alts to pump. So dare I say it, but could this be the start of the altcoin season? We've spoken about the Bitcoin dominance on a yearly scale many, many times before. Let me actually see if I can quickly bring that chart into your viewpoint over here. So this is what we're viewing over here. Bitcoin dominance on a yearly scale. It's always important to zoom out, right? When in doubt, zoom out. And what you've witnessed is technically 3 years of Bitcoin dominance ruling, followed by 1 year of Bitcoin dominance dropping, followed by 3 years of Bitcoin dominance up and in control, followed by 1 year of Bitcoin dominance dropping, followed by 3 years up. And as you guys know, we only have about 2 weeks left before we go into the next year, where you could see Bitcoin dominance dropping like an absolute stone. At least that's the expectation. That's what we're looking at. This is what we've planned for. And this is why we have full-on exposure into the altcoin sector as it currently stands. Now, it's never going to be easy if you're joining now to get the pinpoint entry with absolute zero drawdown. If you're joining now based on the recent volatility that we're seeing, you should expect you are going to get a little bit of drawdown. But if you can DCA into positions and establish those positions and continue to hold strong coins for the next 6 to 12 months, well, you're probably going to experience something like this, which is a complete meltdown of Bitcoin dominance, which means that you're going to make a whole lot of money in the altcoin sector. And we want to see the same thing occur on the USDT dominance, right? So you can see over here the massive drop that we had. And we spoke about this yesterday, how comparing to what happened in 2020, we got something similar for the red line only to form a higher low and then aggressively rally towards the upside. The red line refers to your altcoin season index indicator indicator. So very quickly trending back into that 80 zone, and the 80 zone, which is the red line flashing on and off the screen over there, or the red box, when you get into that zone, that is where that altcoin season does occur, and it should line up very, very nicely with next year's Bitcoin dominance dropping. The interesting thing that you have to consider as well, when it comes to Bitcoin dominance, you can see previous cycles, well, the lowest that we've ever got on the Bitcoin dominance was about 39%, right? But now you've eliminated a lot of the regulatory uncertainty and the opposition that was coming from the Biden administration against crypto. And a lot of that has been now eliminated, which means that we could possibly see this drop even lower, maybe as low as 30%, maybe even as low as 25% Bitcoin dominance. And that would mean altcoins would absolutely fly, right? So keeping an eye out on that, prepare yourself. If you don't yet have a place to trade and you're looking for a new place to trade, I can recommend 𝗲𝗏𝗏. We are partnered with them. They're probably my favorite exchange to trade on right now. You can see that they're offering a $1 million prize pool as well for anybody that does want to participate as a leverage trader in that. They're giving you great opportunity over here in terms of their fees. They have 0% maker fee, right? 50% discount on the taker fee, which basically means that you're not paying much to trade on this. I think they're giving you 10% cash back as well on your trading fees, which will be deposited in the form of USDT. So there's a sign-up bonus in the link in the description below. Here it is, 𝗲𝗏𝗏, and there it is, your 10% cash back when you make a deposit. You will receive that. And then low fees, a lot of trading pairs, high liquidity. Also, by the way, no KYC. That's probably one of the most important things. You don't have to give in your personal information if you are looking for a place to trade. I can recommend them. All right. So part of the analysis would be tied in with the seasonality. Seasonality is very important when it comes to markets because history doesn't repeat, but it very often rhymes. And what the history suggests is, as we have covered, Ethereum should have an absolute baller of a time leading into January and February, right? So we're going to have a look at the ETH chart right now, ETH BTC as well. This all in combination with, remember, the yearly chart on Bitcoin dominance, the breakdown of the USDT dominance. These are very important factors to consider so that you can plan ahead, right? With trading, you often want to plan ahead. You don't want to make your decision after the fact that the move has already taken place. And I spoke about this throughout this week when the prices were coming down. And I said that, there's still a long week ahead, and there is still a long week ahead. We're only about halfway through. We still have 3 days and 17 hours left to close this candle. And I told you, you may just be setting in the wick low over here. And if you do start to see this candle closing green and above that level on ETH, that is your breakout level. That is literally the breakout level. If ETH starts closing above this $4,000 mark, that's going to erupt a full-blown altcoin season. And we've seen before, this is where things very quickly start to go vertical, right? So don't be surprised if you see something like that over the next 3 to 4 weeks on ETH leading into January. Remember the seasonality and what it says. On average, 23% returns occur for ETH in the month of January, which is, I believe, on average, one of the highest returning months. May also had a pretty high return. And if you look specifically in the post-halving year, which is the current year that we're in, that's where it especially performs very, very well. So ETH challenging once again on the ETH BTC chart, that breakup structure, right? This is your breakup structure. Let's label it over there just so you guys don't get confused. Your BOS, your breakup structure, occurs if you break above this yellow line over here, and that will confirm the breakout, which we've already seen, right? We've seen the breakup structure when you look at things like total 3 measured against Bitcoin. There it is. BOS, breakup structure, we broke it. We perfectly back tested into that level. I told you that was your second opportunity. That was the lucky opportunity for the latecomers. And the reason that I said that is because you don't always get this perfect retest. Everyone wants the perfect retest, but you don't always get it. And when you do sometimes get it, the people bail out of their positions, worried that prices will go lower. And this is why I think that it's probably less likely that you're going to come back down there again. I think that the max pain trade is probably straight continuation now after flushing people out, right? The max pain trade always was even back there to have continuation. This was one of those rare instances that you come perfectly into the support level and test it, right? The same thing occurred on others measured against Bitcoin. You can see sweeping below that level. We had already drawn this in previously. I didn't expect it to happen that quick. I thought, maybe it'll run up a little bit further and then later on in February, March, you'll come back for the back test. But it looks like we've already got that back test, right? So ETH is next. ETH BTC chart is next to, of course, break this level over here. And similar to what I just suggested when it comes to the others and total 3 measured against Bitcoin, there's no guarantee that you will get that back test on this chart, right? You could very easily see something like this where it just rapidly starts to expand out of this falling wedge, and ETH begins to completely outperform, right? When risk returns into the market, that's what you have to remember. When risk and greed comes back into the market, it happens very, very, very quickly, right? So we're keeping an eye out on that. Let's quickly look at the total cryptocurrency market cap. Again, slowly but surely starting to look strong. If you look at the coins that have been strong, some of which is, for example, Mantra's done very, very well. That can kind of be an indication of what could come next for the majority of the market. Mantra's candles already turned fully green, trading at all-time highs. There's plenty of coins that have been doing that. If you look at Total 2, looks very, very similar. Hasn't yet taken out this pivot point. Remember, this is your major pivot point coming in, of course, at 1.72 trillion. That is for the Total 2 cryptocurrency market cap. If you do break above that level, this is essentially the pivot points are where your acceleration phase begins to take place. So slightly overhead over there. If you look at also the Total 3, the flush has happened, right? The flush has happened. You came perfectly into your 50% level over there, which we had labeled. And now if you start to close candles above there, that's where your pivot point starts to accelerate, right? Things begin to go very, very quick from that point. We do need to see the 7-day exchange volume continue towards the upside. Remember, we've been tracking this in relationship to what we've seen in the prior cycles. And if you compare 2021 to what happened in 2018, well, we would expect we should completely eclipse this, right? Especially since you've removed a lot of the operation choke point, which is essentially where they're trying to stop the inflow of money into the crypto market with a more crypto-friendly administration coming from one of the biggest markets in the world, that being the US. And if China especially starts to unban crypto, this is where you can start to see massive, massive increases in the daily exchange volume, completely eclipsing. Hopefully this cycle eclipses the 2021 cycle in the same way that 2021 eclipsed the 2017 cycle, right? Big moves are possible over there. So continuing on over here, we do have, of course, the stock market. Dow Jones Industrial Average is still coming down. That needs to show some signs of strength and potential reversal. If you look at the Nasdaq's already shown signs of reversal at current levels over there, pushing back up, right, once again, into new all-time highs. Very, very, very strong over there. S&P 500, not at new all-time highs yet, but the levels worked, right? We drew that in ahead of time. That was your major support. You came into that, and yesterday you started to bounce out of that zone. So all in all, that's looking good. MicroStrategy as well. I'd like to see this chart continue towards the upside, because at one stage, this started to look like it could be a bit of a complacency bounce following the big move that we had up over there. This needs to get moving, right? You need to see a range that's formed over here on MicroStrategy. Nevertheless, you tested your 0.382 as well as your 0.5 level on MicroStrategy chart. That was taken from the origin of the move to the top of the move and basically held that as support. So looking for continuation on this over here, and probably a little bit of a range to form over time, right? You need to see a bit of a bull flag forming over there. MicroStrategy feels like a little bit of a risk to the market, in the sense that what happens if this chart breaks down? That'll probably drop a lot of the confidence within the market. I think a lot of people are confidently buying into Bitcoin and crypto because they're following the lead of Michael Saylor, right? So not to say that Michael Saylor will stop buying, but if this chart comes down, it could elicit a little bit of fear in the market. And that could be one of the indications that, maybe exchange volumes going down, things are drying up, and we're going in for a deeper correction. But right now, things do still look okay, right? Tesla also very, very, very strong. There's a huge breakout taking place here right now. If you're lucky enough to get a back test into this level, so following the breakout, you might push up a little bit first and then eventually come back to retest this 383 level. That could be a prime opportunity. It would be a great opportunity if you did happen to see something like that, with crypto outperforming, and then you get an opportunity to rebalance and diversify some of your crypto portfolio into, of course, Tesla for the long term, right? Just an idea out there. But nevertheless, looking for a big move over here. Still another 51% for Tesla. And we know that we had people like Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates trying to short Tesla. He's had a strange relationship with Elon Musk for a long time. where Elon's called him out on why he's shorting, bro, why he's shorting Tesla. And I think he's going to get squeezed, right? At this point, he must have been squeezed if he hasn't yet, speculated that theoretically Bill Gates could go bankrupt on a trade like this. Because remember, on a short trade, you have to keep adding margin to keep the trade alive. Otherwise, you risk liquidation. And this can go up forever, right? Whereas on a long trade, you hit zero and then that's the end of the trade. So that's why shorting can oftentimes be very, very dangerous. The other thing to look at over there is gold, right? A lot of inflationary fears that inflation's coming back into the market, and people are obviously going back into gold. You've been holding this trend line over here. Gold's been super, super, super bullish. We initially took a massive trade on gold from all the way at the lows over here to the exact highs. That was based on a huge cup and handle formation on a high time frame chart, like a weekly and a monthly. I'm currently on the daily chart, but nevertheless, I think gold could challenge these highs over here. If you do want to take the gold trade, by the way, and you actually want to go long on gold, you can see that is listed over here on Prime XBT. So one of our partner exchanges, you got everything over here: crypto, stocks, forex pairs, all the commodities, gold, oil, Brent crude, everything, right? So if you want to trade these markets, there is a link for you below. You're getting a 20% sign-up deposit or 25% discount on trading commissions. Just look for Prime XBT in the list below over there. And then let's continue. What else have we got? What else have we got today? Let's have a look at some of the altcoins. There's your back test into the previous support. This would be similar to Bitcoin having come down to $77,000. Once you break out of the trading range, it's not often that you'll get the perfect test. But if you look at that, absolutely perfect to the wick over there. Tested it on Solana, and Solana is now starting to move up. Of course, Solana's breakout level occurs at 252. So again, going back to the poll results, I'd love to know what you guys have voted for. Let's click over here and see what have you chosen, right? Which one are you choosing between these lists? So what's interesting about this kind of list is, if you have you have ETH as a layer one. Then you have WIF, which is, of course, on Solana as your meme coin, higher beta player on Solana. And then you have Render as your AI token. I think all of these are good picks, for somebody that just wants to manage a couple of different coins. You can also mix and match some of these. But I personally think every single one of these quick portfolios with 3 picks over here would perform very, very well. Look at how evenly split they are. A lot of people are fading this one over here with Phantom, Fog, and Prime, 12%, but the majority looking to allocate into these types of coins. So let me know in the comments. I am looking at your comments over here. Drop your comments over there. What do you guys want charted? We'll have a look at them. We know that 𝗬𝗎 is doing phenomenally well. 𝗬𝗎 traded back to all-time highs once again as well. So let's take a look at the 𝗬𝗎 chart. I am on the weekly time frame. We can always look on the lower time frames to get our trigger plan, but generally when the market starts to move quick, it's always good to zoom out and get more perspective, right? So that's 𝗬𝗎. Powerful, very, very, very powerful. Now approaching the 2.618 fib extension. And then specifically, if you actually have a look at the 𝗬𝗎 versus, let's quickly have a look at that 𝗬𝗎 versus Solana chart. Let's just see. I think I put it in on the bottom over here. Here's your 𝗬𝗎 again, SOL. There it is, right? Big breakout. So 𝗬𝗎 clearly outperforming over here. This is clearing a pretty clear, significant level that we have, right? This was a significant level at 178. 𝗬𝗎 again, SOL breaking out over there, really getting sent. How much higher will this one go? So clearly in an uptrend. So if you are holding 𝗬𝗎, I don't really think that it's worth exiting that position. Personally, I am holding a bit of 𝗬𝗎, but it's only about, I think, 4 or 5% of my current portfolio. I am going to continue to hold that. It's important to look at the coins that you're planning on holding for the rest of the cycle and measuring it against the top performers, right? The top performers in the cycle have been the likes of 𝗬𝗎, Solana, ETH not so much, but ETH is turning the corner, right? We've looked at things like Mantra. Look at Mantra over there. Absolutely powerful. One of the top performers. Remember, you can also always go onto Banter Bubbles and just select on the yearly. And you can see on the yearly which have been the top performers, right? WIF, Brett, Pepe, Mantra, Virtuals, Aero, these in the top 100 coins have been the best performers. 𝗬𝗎 at 633, Jasmy, which you also have a long position on from near the lows, 629 over there, doing very, very well. Ondo, you got FET coming up over here. So essentially what we're seeing over here is that the majority of the best performing coins have been between specifically meme coins, real world asset, a little bit of AI, and then you kind of have your base of support between the layer ones. That's where the focus has been. I do think that towards the end of the cycle, as money moves down the risk curve, meaning people want to get more and more risky, you should see a little bit of a comeback from the gaming sector, which is why I recently just posted in Whale Room this morning that I am looking to make some changes over there. By the way, guys, if you do want to check out Whale Room, this is where we drop all these trades. You can see over here, we entered into the boys club specifically as an ETH beta play based on the at least attempted break over here of the falling wedge on the ETH BTC chart. If Ethereum goes up, these coins are going to do phenomenally well. We added a little bonus one over there as well, which is Bird Dog, right? You can see over there, Bird Dog was the lowest cap. Remember, these guys are all friends. We dropped this as well yesterday. We spoke about it on the show, and you can see trading up to 8.47 million. I think we got into this trade between $1 and $2 million in Whale Room. So already almost closing in on a 10x return, right? So big gains over there. You got Andy as well. Andy is a higher beta player on against ETH, right? We'll look at Pepe as well in just a moment. So Andy, Wolf, Bird Dog, Brett, and then of course Pepe, right? Pepe is the leader of the flock with $11 billion market cap, right? So look at this, breaking out again above those highs, closing candles over here right at all-time highs, and the measured move on this on Andy is going to be all the way up to about another 81%. Now, when it comes to buying these, by the way, I would recommend that you just purchase it through your MetaMask wallet and use the swap feature over there, because I have heard of a couple of people that have been trying to buy these on Mexi, and they have multiple different ones listed. Remember, it's very easy to get coins listed on Mexi, and consequently what's happening is they're buying the wrong token, right? So someone messaged me that they basically missed out on an 80% pump because they bought the wrong wolf, right? Here's wolf over here. Wolf ran like 80%, and they had bought the wrong wolf. So please be careful of that. Remember also Bird Dog trading only at $8 million market cap, and you have, the other friends over here, Andy and Wolf trading around that $250 million market cap. And even these, I believe, can very easily go into the billions, right? At least $1 billion, possibly multiple billions. They could actually catch up to where Pepe is at that $10 billion mark. So let's have a look at that. I was charting as well to showcase to you how strong Pepe is measured against the rest of the coins over here. So let's just quickly have a look at this over here. You have Pepe measured against Bitcoin. There it is. Very powerful. Essentially a cup and handle formation. So you got your cup, you got your handle, basically a reaccumulation pattern closing above the highs over there. And we're looking for acceleration. Pepe against ETH, very strong, right? Coming back perfectly into the 0.382 of the trading range, holding that as support. And now you're looking for acceleration, right? Pepe against Solana as well, looking very strong, right? Reaccumulation range, higher highs, high lows. Everything is absolutely cooking over here for the Pepe trade. So let's go on to Pepe and have a look at it. This is Pepe on ETH, of course. Remember, there are going to be, a lot of other ones, a lot of copycat ones. But essentially, you've cleared this clear level. This is where we were first, really considering moving into this quite seriously. 1740 was the key level on a weekly scale, holding that. And now you're about to move into the acceleration phase. The important thing to understand is that, yes, it's close to all-time highs, but this has really been one of the leading memes of the cycle. So the chances that this is going to continue into a parabolic phase is very likely. And I'll bring up in just a minute mantra. Sometimes people think, it's pumped too much for this to only then consolidate. So basically, if you're getting in now, before you get that parabolic phase, which would look something like that, and then it leads into the consolidation, chances are it won't fill this inefficiency over here until the end of the cycle, right? I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why in just a minute. I can show you something like Doge as well as an example. But first, let's go back to Mantra on a weekly scale. Just have a look at that one, which is, of course, done super well. So there's Mantra on a weekly. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, this is like the equivalent of buying Pepe, probably, somewhere down here. Grinds up, huge acceleration, consolidates for possibly a few more months. And then this thing's going to probably rip again, right? And that's technically how these things play out. Let's go to Dogecoin to just see Doge on a weekly scale. As an example of what's kind of happened. So this is kind of going to be like similar to what Doge did in, of course, 2021, right? So here it is. Let's move on to, for example, let's go on the 3-day time frame. And you can have a look at this. So this is similar to Doge in 2021. 𝗕𝗫𝗖𝗟𝗑 may only be somewhere like here, right? It's just starting to reaccumulate. And then you suddenly get this rapid expansion, get a bit of a flush, you get another rapid expansion, and ultimately the rest is history, right? Towards the end of the cycle, we time it and play it by ear. Remember, we've also studied how long things technically play out for when Bitcoin dominance starts to drop. And we're coming into the key support. Let's watch what happens over here. I don't think we'll watch live on the show because this is a 4-hour candle, but just be careful that there isn't a bounce. If there is a bounce like that, you're probably getting one more lower high, and then that's where you lead to the breakdown. But what we found is that this could rally, if it plays out like the prior cycles, into about April, right? So possibly around April. Personally, timing-wise, I'm really eyeing out March as a time period for a major top within the market. But don't hold your breath on that. We have to take it by ear. This is a longer term plan when we try and map things out, right? So continuing on over here, let's have a look at some of the other coins. Pointers. If I'm bullish on ETH, I'm very, very bullish on 𝗕𝗫𝗖𝗟𝗑. And if I'm bullish on 𝗕𝗫𝗖𝗟𝗑, I'm very bullish on the higher beta plays like Bird-Dog, like Wolf, like Andy, and like Brett, right? Brett, we're already long on. We've been long on that for a long time. Brett is actually one of my biggest meme coin positions. I think it is the biggest meme coin position that I have. So going back to Brett, let's move on to the weekly time frame over here just to get some perspective. So that is, this is the key level. We want to see closing candles above this. You got a perfect flush out, right? What is a perfect flush out? Probably better shown again on the low time frames. Like, let's go into the daily. This is your perfect flush out. Why? Well, because you had a big move up. So a lot of traders would have been placing their stop losses underneath here, underneath these wicks. And what happens, right? Flushed. This is why I think that it's probably unlikely that you come back down below these wicks, because that means the people that got flushed out of their long trades, which they held for quite a while. Imagine at this point in time, you had entered into this trade over here, stop loss goes below. These guys had already traded this up 40% excluding leverage. And in the space of 1 day, they went from 40% up to basically exited completely out of their profitable positions for price to only spike back up. Now, psychologically, the way the market plays out, it's probably unlikely that it's going to give them a second chance to get in at the same price or lower. Could you do something like this? Yes, you could. You could do something like that, but ultimately they're probably going to end up buying higher than when they got in on those candles, right? So perfect flush, and you're seeing this across, across the board, across a lot of the different coins. So view this essentially as your swing failure pattern, right? Your SFP. This is your swing failure pattern. Prices attempted to swing lower, but they didn't. It failed because the closing candle is what's more important. Prices swing failure pattern, closed higher, essentially trend still in motion, high highs, high lows is the name of the game, and the level held. So key thing to be looking at over there, very, very, very important. All right, let's quickly look at AI on just some high time frames over here as well. Same thing, swing failure pattern, right? All the stop losses underneath over there essentially would have been taken out. And essentially from the measured move over here, which we're looking at, that's still about another 162% move. Of course, if you start to enter over here and render about another 105% move, I do think that these things will perform phenomenally well. Here you got FET as well. Another swing failure pattern sweeping below that level, reclaiming the top side of the trading range. And I'll be targeting all-time highs and beyond, right? The previous all-time highs and beyond. Okay, Grass is also doing relatively well over here. So nice, holding the trading range over there. This is a big VC token, but I think they have a pretty solid vesting schedule that shouldn't wreck retail. Very few people got in on that round. And, you're looking at a move above 370 to confirm the breakout, and then this one should go higher. So AI, I still think will have decent moves. Let's quickly check 𝗬𝗢. Here's the 𝗬𝗢 trade. Okay, same thing, high highs, high lows, right? There's been no loss of trend over there. Everything is perfectly in motion, high highs and high lows, perfect trend line in play, holding that level over there, especially on a wick basis, looking good. Reclaim the top side of the trading range over here at around 700, and then this thing should move up to about 80. So, from current prices, you're looking at about a 92% move over there. We can have a look at GOAT quickly. I see there is a question on GOAT. I know that GOAT just got a Coinbase listing today, So goat's obviously getting a huge pump off of that. There it is, probably better shown on the daily. Let's just go back on the daily time frame because goat was, of course, one of the trades, one of the coins that I was looking to allocate into. So here it is. This is what we spoke about. We spoke about that, of course, range low, right? So you're looking to build a position into range low. This one, of course, swept below, started to reclaim. Same thing, right? That's considered your deviation. So you have your deviation. You can now essentially target up to mid-range. There it is. Target mid-range as TP1. So there it is. Take profit 1, take profit 2. And I would always leave some on the table, leave some on the table for the breakout level. There it is. Up to $2 is a possibility. And this is a great coin to get your exposure to the AI meme coin sector, AI agents, right? AI agents, remember what are AI agents? Essentially, they are bots that were deploying meme coin contracts and controlling everything, right? The whole marketing scheme, Twitter, everything, the whole bank shoot. Now, of course, there's probably a human that, signaled to do this. So it all comes from human creation initially, but nevertheless, this is kind of like the first one and the biggest one that's out there. 150% move from here is definitely on the table. Okay, what else? What else have we got, guys? Let me know in the comments. I'm checking the comments. Let's see. I see there's a question around Gala. We can have a look at some of those gaming coins. Let's actually go to them. Let's see. Let's go to the gaming sector over here. Okay, you are starting to get some moves over there. I'm just going to, just scroll through very, very quickly. So gaming's very much bottomed out, right? As you can see over here, very much bottomed out. If you believe that gaming is going to survive and, you feel that it's too much risk to put your money, additional capital into other coins that are fast trending. Why? Well, again, remember, it's always about your invalidation, right? So if other coins are doing this, and it's there, and then here's your next high low, and you're looking to enter on that high low, this is just a primary example, right? You're looking to enter on that high low. This is a fast trending move. Now your stop loss is over here, right? Which means you're taking on exorbitant risk. By entering over there, price might move 50% against you on some positions for you to be invalidated. Okay, maybe also like me, and you've been in the market for a very, very long period of time, but you're still getting new capital based on your businesses, right? So what do you do with that new money? What are you doing with it? Those new bags, right? Do you enter them into something like this where you could risk losing half of it in one flush? Not necessarily. What you can do is you can look to things like this, like the gaming sector, which, your drawdown is going to be very, very limited. The volatility in this is gone. Remember, we establish our positions during periods of low volatility. That's how we get the best trades on the table when no one else wants them. And we start to scale in slowly but surely. That way, your dollars, yes, you might be subject to small fluctuations like 5 or 6% up and down. But for the most part, you're not going to get a 50% drop, right? But you still have all that upside potential for if gaming does return. So, of course, you've got to pick wisely, right? Again, go into 𝗲𝗏 over here. Latest tweet, or not tweet, but latest message over there. I said next step is going to be transition a percentage of my Solana position, my largest position in my entire crypto portfolio, and move some of that into the gaming sector, right? And I said over there, of course, I'll let you guys know very, very soon when I do it and what I go into. So if you do want to find that out, make sure you jump into 𝗲𝗏, the Discord, right? We also started to take some trades yesterday. That's 𝗲𝗏𝗏. This is my current portfolio as it stands. I think, 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏 will be a bit bigger because I actually just bought a bit more this morning. So yeah, sold 41% of the portfolio. I'll be deploying a percentage of that, possibly about a quarter of my soul into other positions, simply for the sake of diversification, right? Brett, Mog, Casper, Mantra, GigaChad, which also just got a listing. Where did they get a listing? On Coinbase, I think, as well. So it had a massive pump yesterday. 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏, I think, should be slightly higher. This remaining USDT that I had this morning, I basically deployed more into 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏. We got 𝗬𝗢𝗏𝗏𝗧 as an absolute banger. We got PopCat right at a key weekly level. So I'm looking for a big move on that. 𝗬𝗢𝗢𝗙𝗏 as well, a pretty key level. Jasmine, we got in super early. Nice small percentage allocated into that. And that's absolutely cooking, right? Those are kind of my top 10 positions in terms of percentage splits that I'm currently holding. So if you want to find out more, by the way, guys, the link is below over here to 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. That is the private Discord, right? The benefit of being there as well is over December period, in the next couple of weeks, we're not going to be doing any more shows, right? We have to go on holiday. to give the rest of the team a rest. But I'll be very active over there on, of course, Discord, right? I'm gonna stay working on Discord. So if you want information, you want to catch up, get your market updates, they're going to be over there over the December period. All right. Let's have a look at a couple of the other coins. I see there's a question over there around Polygon, 𝗏𝗡. We should probably have a look at that, right? 𝗏𝗡 rebranded though, didn't they? Haven't they got a different name? But this is still trading. So I'm going to just have a look at this chart. Hopefully I have the right one over here. Let's move on to a weekly scale for some perspective. This one's been hard hit, right? It hasn't caught the bid. Sandeep's project. Sandeep has not got this thing to catch the bid that everyone wanted. But if you do look at that, well, that is pretty interesting, because if you look at the key level over here, which is your obvious major range low, you deviated and you back tested now perfectly into that zone. So could there be a little bit of a catch-up trade over here, similar to what we saw happen with things like XRP, things like Cardano? Well, possibly. I mean, if you want to trade, there it is, right? That would be an easy trade over there. Stop loss goes below the low. Trade this to the highs over there. That alone is providing you with a beautiful 3.92. Why is that so small? I can hardly even see that. That is crazy. How do you make that thing bigger? Let's see this. Okay, there we go. Much better. Wow, that was unbelievably small. 3.82 to 1 risk to reward ratio. That is a pretty solid trade. Now, of course, you need to kind of time your entry a little bit better. So to do that, I would typically zoom in. You can observe what price does over here, because at the end of the day on the dailies, this goes for everything, right? You're going to have a tough time getting above this. This is a big level to reclaim, right? The breakdown level is a big level to get above. So what you could do is you could wait for something like this to break, then maybe wait for a throwback. You might get something like that, at which point you get a little bit of a better entry, something like that. There we go. Closer to invalidation, make it a bit tighter, and bang. That's what I'd be looking at. So if you want a trade idea, that's one thing that I'd be watching over there for 𝗏𝗡. Let's just move 𝗏𝗡 up into the layer 1 sector, because it's not in there. Let's drop it in there. Perfect. Okay. 𝗏𝗡, 𝗬𝗎 is doing well. Obviously, let's have a look at 𝗏𝗧 again. So 𝗏𝗧 holding around that mid-range. We're still waiting for the big breakout when you clear that range level. All right. What else? Phantom. Let's have a look at Phantom. Okay. Phantom, very, very strong. Reclaiming this. Very good, right? High, low, confirmed. This one actually didn't even sweep the stops over here. It actually still managed to hold up. This is approaching the breakdown level now. This is what you're looking for. You want to start clearing those breakdown levels. And if you can do this on Phantom, you're breaking above the trading range. Look at that weekly. Super bullish. If this starts to turn green, that shows this was a shakeout. When you see candles like that, that literally proves the shakeout. And we spoke about this. We said on Bitcoin, if you look at Bitcoin and you go back on the weekly scales to, other times that this has occurred, it looks very, very similar to this type of environment, right? Up, flush, right? Followed by another week of up, followed by one more flush, and then straight on parabolic. The market is designed to essentially shake you out of your positions. I see there's a question around Goku as well. I'm still absolutely bag holding Goku, of course. Very bullish on this for the long run. I think that, what you tend to see in these insanely bullish markets, if you're somebody that's on crypto, Twitter, or X, you'll see that people naturally reshare that super sane Goku feeling, right? Similar to, and this has got a moving avatar, which is amazing as well. So Goku over there, super bullish on this. I'm still looking for much higher prices. Remember, this is exactly what you wanted to see. You wanted to see Goku range, right? It's been enough time ranging over there. You started to develop your trading range basically between about, this is about between $4 and $10 million market cap, holding that level beautifully. And then once you break above the $10 million market cap, you start to establish a new floor, right? And then multiple of those ranges stacked on top of each other create that uptrend, right? This is how you get to the 1,000 extra turns. It's never meant to be easy. It's never meant to be quick, unless you have massive backing and influence behind. But ultimately, this is all that you want to see, right? You just want to see the slow grind up, right? Into this. Look at the timeline over here, right? That will take you into January. So patience must be employed. Create that strong base, and then eventually this thing can get sent. So again, guys, remember, check out 𝗲𝗏, get your sign-up deposit over there. I do want to remind you as well, if you do that, you can come through afterwards and you can guess the price of Bitcoin. By guessing the price, whoever comes closest can win themselves one entire full Bitcoin. It's all below, right? Each of these links that are listed below over here where it says win a Bitcoin, there it is, win a Bitcoin. Each of those will qualify you for a guess. Closest guess gets a full Bitcoin, right? And then also remember, check out Whale Room if you want to learn more. I'm not the only trader in there, so if you for some reason disagree with my analysis, there are other traders. There are other traders. If you want to scalp, you can check out 𝗕𝗫𝗙𝗪𝗏, who takes quick trades in and out every single day. Highly profitable trader, 47%, 304%. 45%, 26%. There's a lot of alpha. One more thing, we have to check the institutional charts, right? Let's quickly go back to that. Where is our institutional charts over here? Let's just see what's going on over here. And we posted this. There we go. So you got positive delta on Bitcoin. You got slightly positive on Ethereum. You have negative on Solana, which is now starting to move back towards positive. Usually you want to kind of counter trade this, especially if you're in an uptrend, right? So negative funding over there on, of course, on NEAR. We have negative funding on WIF, which creates long opportunities. Negative funding on Pepe. So negative funding into a higher low on a high time frame uptrend. That's pretty simple math, right? What is 1 + 1? And the answer is 2. Unless you're argumentative, then you may come up with something else. That's it from me, folks. I'll see you on the next one. I hope you have an absolutely stellar day. I'll catch you on the next one, which will be tomorrow. And yeah, cheers for now.